Let's discuss this issue of the Niger-Delta youth and their impact in the region vis-a-vis the development of the area and the intervention of NDDC to bring succor to the people of the oil-rich region. We have in the studio National President, Niger-Delta Progressive Youth Leadership Foundation, Adam Ogomogo Mabo. Thank you for joining us on this night, Adam.
Thank you. God bless you.
Now bring us up to speed. Let me start that way on goings on in the Niger Delta vis-a-vis HYPREP. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
When you talk about the HYPREP, that issue of cleanup, Ogoni, is an issue that also comprises the whole Niger Delta. Yes, the Ogoni become the front line of the cleanup because that is what brought Ogoni Bill of Rights, cleanup of the environment. And if you ask me today, there are other Niger Delta states that's also been bastardized by the activities of the IOC, the International Oil Companies. Sometimes some people call them multinational oil companies, but we don't call them. As an international relations student, we call it transnational oil company because they transfer from one international country to another country. They across border. So they are IOC, International Oil Company. But the aspect of that Ogoni cleanup, we can tell you categorically that they have politicized the process. Because when you see cleanup environment, the instrumentality has put in place. And we can also point out to the federal government that execute that plan. Today, the Ogoni people are still complaining. And not only the Ogoni people are found in the river state. And when you look at other states like Delta, other states like Edo, other states like Ondo, other states like Akwa Ibom, these are also states to mention a oil producing state that made up of the Niger Delta. Let me also tell you that there are 9 states that is oil producing state that is being controlled by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. So to mention, 2 states are from the southeast geopolitical zone, which is the Imo and Abia state. Then 6 states from the south-south geopolitical zone, starting from Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo. Then 1 state from the southwest geopolitical zone, which is the Ondo state. So when you talk about cleanup, today people now look at it Ogoni cleanup, Ogoni cleanup. We as Niger Delta, we all supported the Ogoni cleanup, but not only Ogoni land that need cleanup.
That's affected.
That affected. Today you go to Delta State, the women who are fishermen, for instance, Ijaw people, Ishekiri, Urobo people who are in the Niger Delta that have their life living as a fisherman, as a farmer, the environment has been destroyed by the activities of the IOC. Then how can these people survive? How? Because not everybody that can be employed to work in government. There are people who have their private business in the river running activities, but today, these people cannot live. The question that the federal government, are they looking at those riverine communities? Sometimes we even ask ourselves question. We have what is called Niger Delta Development Commission. The Niger Delta Development Commission is established by the former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo on the 5th of June, year 2000. This make it 23 years in existence. If you want to say from this year, June 5th, make it 23 years. The question is that what is the development are we talking about? Are we really feeling the impact of the development in the Delta? And then you also talk about, for instance, look at the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. Let me also debate, but these are federal government intervention agencies solely set up to address the issues of Niger Delta, to address the issues of Niger Delta youth restiveness. Today, let me tell you, the Niger Delta youth are still complaining. The question we can ask ourselves today, are we really feeling the impact of these federal intervention agencies? If we are not feeling the impact, where is the money going? Because every year, federal government amount a budget of money to address this issue that are affecting our people.
So you're in other words, you're asking for accountability, you're asking for visible impact of the NDDC and the Ministry of the Niger Delta. Oh, okay, that's understandable. But let me also ask you, what about your foundation? How well are you engaging the NDDC? What about the youth engagement?
Thank you. Like the foundation which I'm the national president, Niger Delta Progressive Youth Leadership Foundation. Let me also tell you, I'm the immediate past chairman of the Ijaw Youth Council, IYC Abuja, stroke Northern Nigeria. And if you can look at it, as a former chairman of the council, when I was the chairman, I just hand over the next position to the next 7, Comrade Dema Emmanuel. I'm the one that hand over to him. But when I was a chairman, we pressed button to make sure that the NDDC board should be set up, because when we see some foul play, that the cabal have already agreed that they were not going to set up the board. And we find out that it is not possible, because that is the intervention agency that is created to address the issues of Niger-Delta. To the extent that I mobilize people to Villa, mobilize people to the National Assembly, question them why are they delaying. But with the magnanimity of the president, former president, His Excellency Mohamed Buhari, listening to our voice, and then the board was set up. Until before the new president came in and it was dissolved again, new board as also said. But thank God that our brother, Dr. Samuel Chief Obuku, is the managing director of that place. And we are also looking at him with the new board, that we are giving them time to make sure that their board should not be like the other board that come up with the history of accusation. Because what we need from the Niger-Delta is transparency and accountability. The resources that give the Niger-Delta should be spent judiciously for the people. Let the people feel the impact of the resources, which I believe in our organization. This organization is solely set up to monitor the activities of the Niger-Delta agencies. And I believe the organization also covers the 9 states. We have state chapter in Abia, we have state chapter in Imo, we have state chapter in Akwa Ibom, we have state chapter in Cross River, we have state chapter in River State, we have state chapter in Bayelsa, we have state chapter in Delta, Edo, and Ondo, the 9 states. And solely to make sure that we monitor every process that is going on in Niger-Delta, because most time we also point out at the federal government is not doing that, federal government not doing this. But what of the resources federal government giving to us? 23 years in the NDD's establishment, we are still talking about development. Then, in the world of the Ministry of Niger Affairs, Niger Affairs was also created by late President Musa Yar'Adua on the 11th of September, year 2008. Ministry of Niger Affairs is now 14 to 15 years now. These 15 years they have now. The question is that most time you say they are giving training and empowerment to people. We don't even really know the people they are giving training to.
That's what I'm saying. That, you see, I understand your concerns, but yet again, that's why I also want to understand how well you, as a leader in your community, when I say your community, I'm not just talking about your state, but the region, the part of the region that you represent, and your foundation, how well you're engaging NDDC and the Ministry of the Niger-Delta. It's important. That
is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We are engaging them as it is. Even every program we want to do now, we are putting up satellite to monitor every program in the Niger-Delta Development Commission and the Ministry of Niger Affairs, to make sure that the resources should go down to the people. Because our people are suffering. Let me tell you, my brother, the question we need to ask ourselves is that why the Niger-Delta people continue to agitate for 23 years.
Do you also know that, let's quickly wrap this up, are you also aware that whatever the situation is, carrying the locals along, the youth that are agitating along, is important in this drive?
Very good. It's very important, because if the youth are not part of the system, that is where the crisis come from. Why did they say Niger-Delta youth restiveness? It is because of the youth agitation.
Right.
The people were agitating that. Do you know that even the federal government, the IOC cannot employ our people? And for instance, look at some of our people have been trained under the Presidential Amnesty Program. Some of them from oil and gas and other different fields. The question we need to ask ourselves, how many of those youth have been employed, even in the IOC? So these people, these are the things that brought agitation. If those people have been trained and the government cannot provide job for them, which is mean you train them, they are still add up to the unemployment rate in the country, instead to reduce the unemployment rate in the country. So what we are trying to say here is that every governmental official should be able to carry out their responsibility to make sure that there is a stability in the country, most especially the Niger-Delta, because the Niger-Delta is what is passing through every resources we are talking about. The Niger-Delta still continue to providing the resources for the country, economic and political stability. And that is why more attention should be paid to the people of the Niger-Delta. including the Ogoni cleanup, and other states of Niger Delta should also be cleaned up, not for only Ogoni, but there are other rivers that have been polluted by these oil activities.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Adam Omabo. Right?
Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah, National President, Niger Delta Progressive Youth Leadership Foundation. Thank you very much indeed.